my name's Deb Antonik and welcome to my Art Playdate project. Today we are going to be having a little Halloweeny, cinnamony fun, and we're going to paint the witching hour. This is the witching hour. She's actually quite big. I did her 11 by 14. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to play with a lot of different techniques and things that you have around the house, and of course our key ingredient today is cinnamon, so it's not just for baking anymore. And let's play. Okay, so we're going to get started. First off, we are going to use a blank canvas. I used to use the basic 11 by 14 canvas, nothing canvas board, basic, boring, available in any craft store. I chose to do mine 11 by 14 just because I like doing things that's a little bit bigger, but you could actually use, you know, an 8 by 10, any surface that you have at home, anything flat, round, whatever. Just have some fun with it. And I also use just a boring old frame. This frame here is reclaimed barnwood. I just happen to have a few kicking around the basement, but go to your country junk stores, go to your secondhand stores, whatever, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, any of those places that have just a plain ordinary frame, and we're just going to dress that up a little bit later, but we're going to get to that part after because that's the fun and the cinnamon. So I'm just going to put this aside for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to gather together some of the things that we're going to play with today. So we're going to start with doing a texture on the canvas, and I just did that basically. Here I come back again. Just wanted to add a little bit of texture to the background. I didn't want to put a whole lot just for the sake of the image transfer and the painting. I didn't want to have too much texture, but I wanted to create just a little bit of interest so I get just this little dry brush look going on. You can sort of see it a little bit up close. Get right in there for you a little bit. It just creates just a little interest to the piece. So I used a texture crackle. You can actually use texture crackle. You can use a modeling paste if that's what you prefer, if you have that handy. DecoArt's texture crackle. Anything that creates dimension. You could even use gesso. Put it on a little bit thicker than you normally would and let it dry a little bit longer. You could do that. Then we also used a stencil. I thought it was kind of fun just to add a stencil. So if you want, I used it to create sort of a little bit of interest, you know, spiderwebby thing going on just in some of the corners. When you put your texture on, something to notice, we want to stay away from any design in this area because this is where the image transfer is going to go. So even when we put our texture on, we're going to leave this relatively flat, just because the image transfer works a lot better on a flatter surface, although a little texture does help it with being imperfect, so you really don't have to concern yourself too much by it. So to start with, we're going to have a stencil, any spiderweb, any Halloweeny stencil, any if you got. You just want to, you know, bats, spiders, anything you want to do just for fun. If you don't have stencils, I think it's kind of fun that we can actually use stamps. We can actually put stamps in the background instead. I actually do have one always buried in here somewhere. You could see them. I stamp into the texture when it's wet, so that's another option if you don't have stencils handy. These are some Martha Stewart ones that I had got at Michael's a long time ago. We have a variety of other ones. I've got, you know, just sort of some random Halloween fun stencils, spiderweb kicking around. My favorite Boo stencil, I actually use this guy a lot. He's a lot of fun to play with. Great fun. I think these are all going on upside down. Just saying, I know I'm upside down. So some stencils if you happen to have them kicking around the house. We are going to use, let's move those out of the way. We're also going to have some gears. These are kind of fun. You can get them just about any craft store is carrying some form of gears right now. You can get them, you know, even if you go into like the Tim Holtz line in your local craft store. Scrapbooking has them in the cardboard type chipboard, whatever it's called for scrapbooking. Most of our online vendors, Cover Distributing, Stockade in Canada, any of those places will carry, you know, a variety of different gears. If you can't get the wood gears, you can also look at Tim Hortons Ideology. Fun ones to play with. Which way is that? that's upside down. Get gears in that, and you can actually, these are kind of fun too, because you can actually paint over them and you know, maybe take a step back and look at one of the earlier classes that was done with Chris Hoy. She, you know, how she did the texture and painted over top. You could achieve sort of a similar look by using, you know, metal gears if that's what you have. We've also used a little bit of scrapbook paper, which I've done for my clock face and on her dress here. Even this part, this is black. I just painted it black and dry brushed it, but we could even, you know, do that scrapbook paper if you wanted to. So some of the scrapbook paper that I found that I just fell in love with was this scrapbook paper by Steampunk Spells Collection from Graphics 45. I love their stuff. Most of your local scrapbook stores have it still currently because it is a current Halloween, you know, 2014 line that I've found. Online, and any of your scrapbook resellers, they have them as well. But what I did actually is I just cut out the little clock face, and that's all I used. I'm almost embarrassed. See, little tiny pieces missing from my thing. So that was one option you can use. If you want to shrink your piece down and maybe you do an 8x10 canvas, there's another piece that has like little tiny clocks that you can use. If you can't find the scrapbook paper, you don't like scrapbook paper, that's fine. That's a relatively easy fix, and if that's the case, then we can go with little tiny clock bits. Any of your little metal bits that you find in the craft store, they're available. Little tiny clocks, watch clocks, of course my favorite Tim Holtz line. And what we can do, even if you don't find the clock bits, is we can take one of these little ones and we can actually just glue that on instead of using the paper, so you still get a fun little piece as well. Several options available to you. So we have little clock bits. If you want to get fancy and do your piece a little bit bigger and get creative inside, you could use one of these, you know, the clock face outside, I don't even know what these are called, pocket watch. That's a Tim Holtz one that I have kicking around the house and I'm dying to paint inside. Okay, what else? We got, oh, I like to have a little bit of lacy bling going on. So this, I don't know if you can actually see it. I'll bring it up a little bit closer to you. Upside down. Nope, this way. Where are you? There you are. 12. I added that to her hat. It's just a piece of black lace. It is this stuff here. It comes in a huge roll. I just took a little bit and I just cut a little tiny bit up and gathered it and glued it and burnt my fingers and all the fun things that you do when you glue things to your crafts. It was kind of fun to play with. So I have a little bit of that, and then I dressed her up with some little flowers, you know, little black flowers. I put those in her hair up in here just for fun. Let's see, what else do we have? Of course, I embellished the hat. I added a little bit more, you know, just a little bit more detail to the hat. You can have as much fun with the hat as you want. This is what I happen to have handy. I'm fortunate that I live in a lovely little small town in Western Canada. I'm beach at one end and beach at the other end, so I'm certainly not going to complain, but we have no craft stores. We have a Walmart. So my stockpile is limited. So I pick up a few things here and there and a trip to Michael's or whatever. So we have that. Fun Halloween ribbon is also an option. If you don't have fall, you can create something fun up here with ribbon, and any Halloween ribbon. Dress your hat up. I think if you had bats and all sorts of some fun different things, I think it's pretty much endless as to how much spooky bits that you want to draw to your little inner personality, your little inner witch, whatever we have going on. The witching hour. And another thing, the most fun part of all is we're going to do an image transfer. And that is an image transfer. This is actually a downloadable file. It's very simple. The link will be in your pattern packet. You just go in, click on the link. It's a couple of dollars. You download it. You print it off. It comes in the right way around as well as the reverse. And we always want to use a reverse image when we do an image transfer because we are going to actually place the image this way. And then when we lift the image off, of course, then it's going to be the right way up. The only key thing with this is that it has to be printed off on a LaserJet print, or not on a LaserJet printer. On a LaserJet printer. Has to be cut on a LaserJet printer and not an inkjet, because the inkjet printer is just the wrong kind of ink and you'll smear it all over the place. So inkjet, no. Laser, yes. And we're going to use, of course, for image transfer, we use the DecoArt DecoPage. Great project. I prefer the matte. If you have satin, that's okay. If you have gloss, that's okay. It's just that you're going to see the sheen when you're done on your piece, and I really don't want that. I want to keep my piece flat. I don't do high gloss varnishes. I like my pieces flat. So it's whatever you happen to have, you know, handy. If you don't have decoupage, there are other mediums. If you have other ones for image transfer, by all means use them. Another one that we have is, don't you love that? That came to me from DecoArt. I think the box exploded. Something was wrong with it. Anyway, this is their new photo transfer medium, which is the one that I'm going to use today. You can use either one. This one we're going to use, so we're going to play a little image transfer. And let's see. Oh, the best part of this whole project, cinnamon. I have my big keg of cinnamon. I get it at Costco. Actually, I have the bigger one at Costco I used to fill this one with. But little, you know, your household cinnamon. This is what we're going to do, and this is going to create our faux rust technique on the hat. And it is also used to create your frame and give it a rusty, you know, an old rustic kind of spooky look. So yeah, so that's all our little bits. So I'm going to clean up my mess, and we are going to get started. See you in a few minutes.